Hi all, welcome to Jen's Creation Station. My project today was brought about because of a storage issue with my negatives and my CDs. Whenever I use my regular camera, I always get a picture CD from the developer. And that way I can change the photos, I can enhance them, whatever I want to do with them. This is how some of them came, with the CD inside the envelope, and then with the negatives. I just discovered this morning that the negatives actually have a little plastic cover on them to protect them both sides. I don't know if that's acid-free, but I don't really like this storage system because I've got 6 or 8 of these, and it's just impossible to keep them all in one place for some reason. Some of them didn't even come that way. Some of them just came tucked in like this with the negatives loose inside. Now this does rip off, but then those would be separated from the CD. So I came up with a solution to store my CDs and my negatives in one place. Then I will put them all in a little album and bind it with my Bind It All. This little pocket here I plan on using to put a little note as to what photos are on the CD, and then to reference the roll number on the CD, so that I always get the negatives with the CD, and then I'll also put the roll number on somewhere on this envelope as well. So let's get started. For each album page, you will need a piece of 12-inch by 12-inch cardstock. I'm just using plain white because this is literally a storage album. It's just going to get stuck in a cabinet, so I'm not going to spend a lot of money on cardstock or decorative paper, but you can do just about anything you want with this. 12 by 12, you will get the main page, this pocket, this tag, and this pocket out of the main page, as well as this pocket. You will also need a piece of 6-inch by 8-inch cardstock for the little pocket that holds the negatives. Let me show you the cutting diagram for the 12 by 12 cardstock. You'll need one piece 7 inches by 12 inches, that's your main page. The back pocket is 6.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. The front pocket is 3 inches by 4.5 inches. Then the tag for the front is 3 5/8 by 2.5. This is the only waste, this little bit up here, that you'll have on this whole page. Let me show you how I'm cutting my cardstock. This is 12 inches, so I'm going to cut it at 7 inches. Set that aside. I'm going to turn this way, and I need a 6.5 inch piece. And I need a 3-inch piece, and then the last piece should be approximately 2.5 inches, depending on how accurate your cuts were. And there we go. This 2.5 inch piece cut to 3 5/8 inches, and set that aside. That's waste. This 3-inch piece you need to cut to 4.5 inches. And that's waste. Set that aside. This 6.5 inch piece you need to cut to 4 3/4 inches. And that's your back pocket, and set that aside. This is literally your only waste in the entire 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. Your 7-inch by 12-inch piece, on the 12-inch side you need to score it at 6 inches. And that's all you need to do to that on the scoring board. Just put that away. Then you'll need to fold that. Need to find a scoring tool here. You need to measure over 1/2 inch. And I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes. You really don't need to do this. And you just need to mark your page down that 1/2 inch very lightly. And then I want you to measure down 2 inches from the top. And do a light pencil mark for that. Now this is your binding area, and this is your CD pocket. We need to cut this piece out. I know a lot of you have the Tim Holtz ruler, and I love it for the centering point, but it slips around on my cardstock, so I always use my Helix Flexible because it has cork on the back and it doesn't slide. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out. Let me just finish that little edge right there a little bit. Okay. And there's the beginning of our main piece. Now I'm going to take my little eraser here, and I'm going to erase this mark. Just kind of clean that up a little bit so you can't see it. Now if you are going to mat with paper, now is the time to do it before we go any further. You'll need to mat this and this if you care to. And while you're at it, you can go ahead and mat the back if you care to. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, this is just a storage album for me. I am going to ink all my edges. And on my original page, I used the scallop corner punch, so I'm going to go ahead and do that on my corners. Oops. Didn't do very good there, did I? And then on this corner. And then the next step will be to put my adhesive down here. I am going to use score tape just because it's got a strong hold and I can get a real straight line with it. Okay, my roll of score tape is almost gone, but I'm going to tape the outside edge of this. I'm going to pull it up. Before I do that, I'm going to ink all my edges all the way around, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got all my edges inked, so now I'm going to actually close this page and just seal it. And I am going to use a liquid glue around these 2 edges, and the reason I'm going to do that is because liquid glue dries and score tape and ATG tape does not. So when you stick your CD in there, it may have a tendency to stick at the bottom. Before I do that, I'm going to punch a grab finger hole here. I'm just going to guesstimate the middle and ink that edge as well. That'll just give me a little bit easier access to my CD. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue on these 2 sides. When you apply your adhesive, make sure you just get it right along the edge so you have plenty of pocket space. Doesn't take much. And then just go ahead and press that in place. I always get too much glue. And let that dry real good. While that's drying, we are going to work on the front pocket. Okay, I've already punched my 2 corners, and then I'm just going to score a 1/2 inch right here. And this piece of cardstock is 3 inches by 4.5. Just turn that up. And I'm just going to cut my corners in just a little bit so that they don't show when I adhere my pocket. And then I need to ink my bottom edge. Okay. And again, I punched my two corners with my scallop corner chomper. And then the next thing I want to do is you need to put this in 5/8 inch from the bottom and 5/8 inch from the top. If you're good at looking at it and saying, yep, that's about right, then that's fine. You don't have to measure it. That's kind of how I am. I don't always measure things. I'm pretty good at eyeballing. Okay. And I'm just going to place that like so. Now before I glue that down, I need to put a finger pull here. I'm just going to center that. And then I need to re-ink that again. I forgot to do that earlier. Okay. Now that's ready to glue down. Now I'm just going to glue along these two edges. And I'm going to put my paper underneath because I have a really bad habit of ending up with glue everywhere. I like to have some place for it to be wiped on or there. And there's my CD pocket and my journal pocket. The pocket for the back is 6.5 by 4 3/4, and on one of the short edges you need to score a 1/2 inch. And fold that up. This is the bottom of your pocket. And again, I'm going to cut in just so it has a little bit more finished edge on it. Okay, and then I'm going to use my scallop corner punch on both of these as well, like so, and then I will ink these edges and I'll be right back. Our next step is to attach our big pocket on the back. This will hold our little negative envelope, and it needs to be a 1/2 inch from this side and flush with the bottom, and that will allow the 6-inch long photo negative envelope to fit inside. Remember, you've got your binding over here. I'm just going to apply some glue to my little flap. And as I said before, it needs to be flush with the bottom of your page and about a 1/2 inch in. Let that dry. And as you can see, I've already done my finger hole thing there. Let that dry. And then I'm going to glue along these two edges with my wet glue. And close up my pocket. And there's your page so far. And I've gone ahead and inked the edge of my tag. Now the tag size that I gave you, you may need to trim it just a little bit so it fits inside and doesn't stick up. Just depends on how you put your pocket together. If you'd like to make a double CD pocket, one for on the front and one for on the back, this is back pocket number 2 on my tutorial. And the back pocket measurement for another CD, remove this black cardstock, is 6 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you need to score a 1/2 inch on 3 sides and then put your finger pull hole here and then miter your corners. Now if you're going to do a decorative corner, you'll need to make sure you trim your pocket. As you can see, mine, this needs to be 1/4 inch from this edge, so I had to trim the corner of my pocket just a touch so that it lines up with the page. And that's your placement, just 1/4 inch here and flush with the bottom, and another CD will fit in here. For the second part of the tutorial, please watch video number 2 and we'll complete our album.